Good to talk to you again.
Likewise.
Spoke to you a couple of years ago, right before From Hell with Love came out. Now, that was a great album. How did that go for you?
It was really surprising for us how well people accepted that, and the tours that followed it were really successful. And the climax, the finale of the touring cycle was the Ice Hall show in Helsinki, in our hometown. And soon after that, COVID hit, but luckily we were able, to wrap it up just before the COVID stuff. So it was really like a good run with the album.
Yeah, you were very fortunate to have been able to wrap up the tour before the world went down the toilet. So that was a bit of luck.
Definitely, yeah.
When COVID hit and basically the world stopped, did you use that opportunity to take a bit of a break, catch some breath before starting on the new one, or did you get straight to work? How did it work for you guys?
It was immediately to work on the next album, because the song selection process takes time, and then the lyric writing takes time for me always. So after that show, it was in December 13, and I think during that month or in January in 2020, I was actively going through the songs which to do for the album, and it was already going on during 2019, and I had the idea to have a cyberpunk themed album back in 2018, but the actual song selection started actively in late 2019 and early 2020. And then we listened to the stuff together, check the songs I selected. The guys told which songs they didn't like the most and which were their least favorites, and then we just skipped those, and we ended up having 11 original songs and then 2 cover songs. And the studio stuff started in June, 2020 June. That's when we were in the studio.
Did you manage to get in the studio as a band?
No, it's one by one kind of a process. Everyone does their homework for the songs on their own, and we have our own studio actually, so it's easy to organize it, the recordings, I mean.
Once again, a good bit of luck.
Yeah, but when you have a vision for something and a plan, you kind of work also for that kind of a luck or fortune. It's not a coincidence that we have our own studio. It was there's a plan that, okay, we need our own place, and we made it happen.
Right, so tell us about this album, which I've heard twice today. I really like it. I had it blasting in the car on the way home. Tell us about some of the, my favourite tracks on there, Blade Runner and Highway to Mars. That's an unusual one. Tell us about that one.
Well, Highway to Mars is based on Armitage III. That's a cyberpunk anime from 1995. And that was one of the main sources of inspiration on this album. And it's about the first episode. If anyone wants to check it out, that song is based on that. And there's another song of the Moonlight Rendezvous, which is the first single, that's also mostly based or inspired by the same anime, Armitage III. But Moonlight Rendezvous is also inspired by Battle Angel Alita and the film Blade Runner. So these 2 songs, Highway to Mars and Moonlight Rendezvous, are kind of, connected, but it's at least not a concept album in that way. It's cyberpunk themed, but there's no kind of a one story that starts from song and goes towards the last. It's more overview on this cyberpunk topics.
Once again, this album, as with the last album, I was just blown away by the performance of Yannis. He is something else, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He is a singer who understands music and singing on fine levels. Like, he understands the nuances really well. And we see 99.9% of the time we see eye to eye when we're recording vocals and choosing the takes and editing it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to blame each other like why something is good or why something is bad. We hear the same things, whether good or bad, and it makes it so much easier like to work on the same end result. And uh, when in studio, he sometimes tells, "Hey, what if we like record additional like lower octave for this melody or add some harmonies for this chorus so it's a bit like bigger sounding." Even though I always write the songs as complete as possible, like all the melodies are there and usually they are not changed, but it's always good that you can point out something that I might have not thought about, and then we try it out in the studio. If it works, we keep it, and that's nice. So he puts the extra uh, effort there, definitely, when spending time with me there in the studio. And it took quite a long time to record the vocals this time, but I think it was worth it. And yeah,
I think it was worth it too. It does sound like an album that wasn't rushed. Sounds like there was a lot of work put into that. So, yes, I agree with you. Now, I don't want to miss out on the rest of the band. Tell us about some of the moments the other guys brought to the album.
well, usually it's homework-based stuff
Mm.
when it comes to the rhythmical side of things. Rhythm guitars, bass drums, all that is kind of quite strictly written, like how it should be played and performed. But for example, Kasper's guitar solos, as always, he comes to the studio and nails them because he has really thought them through. He composed the solo home, took his time, and it took only, was it 1 or 2 days that it took for him to, I think it was 2 days this time. And there's not much for me to say because when he is so well prepared, it makes my job easier as a
Yeah.
producer of the album. And that's how we work, Everyone is prepared, and also when we go on tour, we just book a rehearsal place for 1 week, and that's the only time when we actually play the new songs together for the first time.
How difficult is that? Everything basically done internet-based, recorded at home, mixed together, really not seeing each other almost, and then getting together to play the songs live as a band in a rehearsal room for a week. How difficult is that to get in the flow, or does it just happen really easily?
It's not easy because from perspective that we also have to think about what do we do on the stage. We always plan like these small choreographies and we have to memorize that stuff and side changes and other stuff, what happens there. So that kind of causes the thing, the musical side of things to sometimes stop. Sometimes we have to stop and think. We cannot just play through the songs, stand still and play the songs and sing. But for me and for the bass player, because we do backing vocals, sometimes it's difficult to memorize the lyrics. I remember in the previous album from Hell with Love, for example, there was this song called Heart of Steel, and it has quite hectic kind of vocal melody in the chorus, like and it just keeps on going like that.
Yeah.
And you got to sing those words and play the instrument at the same time. I remember that was really a pain in the butt to kind of sync the playing and the sing and memorize it. I made so many mistakes during the shows with the lyrics, forgetting the stuff or running out of breath or stuff like that. That is the maybe most challenging, to make everything feel natural when it's difficult to like handle the singing and the instrument at the same time. Of course, it depends on the song and and the melody.
Yeah, I don't know how some singer-guitarists do it, quite frankly, how they, lead singer, lead guitar. I'm thinking, fuck, how do they do it? But they do.
Yeah. Like Dave Mustaine or Alec Laiho, who has now passed away, but those guys are amazing. How the heck can they do that? Like play those difficult riffs and then do the vocals so well at the same time. So they are like really talented in that.
So what's the plan with this one? The album's coming out soon. Are things opening up for tours over there? Is anything planned? Have you got anything planned that you don't think will come off? How confident are you?
Well, at the moment we are supposed to have this European tour in the end of this year. Let's see what happens. Every day there's some kind of a change in the global situation. You have to always know what's happening in each country in Europe when you're planning a European tour, and it's difficult to say anything. Will it be like, will it happen, or will it happen like 50%? Like, will only half of the shows be played or not? But I believe that eventually the world will adapt and find solutions to like live with this situation and with pandemic and deal with it in a way that we can all return as close as possible to normal way of things. And when that happens, we will tour as massively as possible. That's our plan. We already have made plans quite far away. But the main thing is that even if they change the plans, that will not change that we want to tour like really heavily and go to new territories where we have never been before. So we're fighting for that. And I'm sure it will happen.
Is anything planned within your home country? You don't have to cross any borders then. You got any launch shows planned?
Well, no, not at the moment. We have this European tour only, like that is now announced. It's been announced for quite a long time already, but there will be some shows in Finland regarding this Dark Connection tour, but we have to talk about this with our booking agency in Finland, like when to announce the info about certain shows and how to promote it, and many things like have to kind of think. You have to synchronize different tours, and every tour seems to kind of changing, as I said, because of this situation that we might be playing the full tour, we might not be playing. If we don't play the full tour, it affects our plans for a year from now, for that tour. And so but luckily I'm not the one who is making those plans. That's why we have label and management and booking agencies and all that stuff. Thank God we have a good team. They're a great team behind us. We trust them.
Let's talk guitars. What are you playing these days, Anton?
I don't play anything actually. I'm a horrible guitarist, like when it comes to staying active. I mean, I ignore my instrument way too often. After the last note of Dark Connection's guitar solo was played, I didn't touch my guitar until we had this summer festival show in July. And I think the last guitar solo, it was this year's January, I think, when I finished my guitar solos. And then the first show was in July. So between that time, I didn't play guitar at all.
Wow. You're a guitarist that can switch off.
Yeah. But there's so much work and stuff to do around the band. Like all these music videos and there's so much going on behind the scenes always. That's maybe not so obvious for the public eye, but I'm more concerned about those things to make them work, those things that go behind the things. Because I know that if I put the guitar after a few days of playing, I'm again back on where I previously left it. So it's not really stressing me that much.
You mentioned the film clip, the one I saw just a little while ago, Moonlight Rendezvous. That's a very impressive film clip, that one. How much work was involved in that? that must have been a bit of work.
Yeah, it was. It took like 1.5 years about to make it happen. And the first script for the video was done last year in May, but the work on the film started, of course, before that. The negotiations, we met the director, writer, Katri Ilan-Koppanen, and asked her if she wants to do this for us, like direct and write it, and she did. And she actually has been working for us since the beginning. She's been involved in every official music video of Beast in Black. She's been like huge driving force behind those. But now this Moonlight Rendezvous was her debut as a director. So it was quite a big thing for her, to start with quite an ambitious music video and kind of a short film. It's a story worth of a full film, but it needed to be squeezed into 6 minutes and somehow maintain the story so that it makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing if you first watch it, but if you watch it many times enough, and you'll understand probably that, okay, you can connect the things there and see that it's a coherent story and makes sense. And we're happy about that we put so much effort into it after all, because people seem to appreciate it and enjoy it. And it's something we've never done before, and that's the point. Like, if you're a hungry artist, you have to also show it that, okay, you're ambitious, you want to do something more, you want to give back more to the people. And that's the way.
Well, for a debut as a director, I think she did very well. So pass on my congratulations.
I will, definitely.
Hey, Anton, we're just about at the end of my time here. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about?
Well, I just want to tell all the fans there, thanks for the patience, for waiting for so long for this new album. And until we come touring there, enjoy our music and stay tuned for the news of Beast in Black. Like, check out our socials now and then, because we will someday, hopefully soon as possible, come to your country and do some touring.
Excellent. So yeah, new Beast in Black album, Dark Connection, really good, man. Really enjoyed that. Coming out soon. Best of luck with it, and hope all the touring comes off for you. And stay well.
Yeah, thank you very much. So it was a nice conversation. So take care and enjoy the rest of the day. Take care, my friend.